The most anticipated game of all time is finally here, Hollow Knight Silksong. This game is putting up absolutely insane numbers right now. This is to nobody's surprise, this game is peak. With that being said, I obviously had to play the game, so do consider subscribing if you enjoy this video. The very first day it came out, I bought and downloaded the game. Dude, this doesn't even feel real. Dude, day one Silksong. I'm like salivating at the mouth right now. Alright, here we go. The game opens up with a beautiful cinematic. I love the cutscenes in this game. Hello, Hornet. By the way, throughout this video I'm going to try to explain the story. However, I'm low-key media illiterate, so just keep that in mind. Oh snap. No, the Silksong! Oh wow, is this where we start? And just like that, our story begins. Hornet takes a crash landing onto the Moss Grotto, and almost gets stabbed in the head by her own needle. She then binds to her weapon, and the game truly starts. Bang, here we go. Alright, I have to learn all the controls. Alright, it's the same buttery smooth gameplay as the other game, which is ideal. Okay, wow, look at that movement. Moss Grotto, alright, here we go. Alright, this is gonna take a little bit of getting used to. A little bit different than regular Hollow Knight. Oh dude, I thought it was over. I thought that was acid. When you attack enemies in this game, your silk charges up, and when it reaches a certain threshold, you are able to bind, which heals you. Getting rid of these tiny little bugs. It's no problem. Oh, uh-oh. That's not good. Bro, what am I having? A heart attack? What's going on? This is like in Cyberpunk, bro. Oh, just locked in instantly. Huh, we're good. What is... Oh, is this my first charm? No. Actually, rosaries are the currency in this game. And as you're about to see in this video, they are scarce. Oh, I was here already. Now I gotta go all the way back. Dude, I forgot monsters respawned. This could get a little annoying. You know, I guarantee I'm gonna get a comment that's making fun of me for using keyboard and mouse instead of using a controller. I have a good reason. I have always played Terraria and stuff on keyboard and mouse and not controller, and I'm pretty good at movement on keyboard, so I'm not switching to controller right now. I played all of regular Hollow Knight with keyboard and mouse. A berry? Mossberry. Fire. Alright, where are we going? Oh, this is where I had my tweak session. Oh, I thought that did damage. Alright, ready? Watch. We're gonna hit this. Look at that, Mossberry acquired. Alright, I should probably not do that. Alright, do not get hit while mending. While down here, I find a mysterious door. We'll have to come back to this later. But anyway, after a while, I finally managed to find my way out. Alright, this is definitely the way to go. It's a little dark in here. Oh, I'm tweaking again. Yo, lock in, Hornet. It's alright, man. Alright, we're good. We find our first bench in the ruined chapel. These are kind of like save points in this game, and they're very important to find. You know what that means to me? You know what that says to me? That says that there's a boss near here. Right through here, calling it, there's gonna be a boss. Alright, right through here, there's gonna be a boss. Oh, wow. Moss Mother. Here we have our very first boss fight of this game. Personally, the Hollow Knight boss fights are some of my favorite bosses in video games. We're getting serious. I mean, I did hear that this game was supposed to be harder than the first one. Alright, why am I low-key getting cooked? Alright, easy. Oh, it's not over. A little dizzy. Oh, and it's over just like that. Oh, that was kind of fire. The Moss Mother went down, and now it's time to progress in the game. After the boss room, there's this little place to ascend, and once you get up, Hornet starts tweaking again. Oh, dude. Alright, we're good, we're good, we're good. I just need a bench or something. Who's that? Oh, I died. After passing out from tweaking too hard, Hornet is waken up by this weird creature. Hornet and the bug exchange some dialogue, and all you really need to know is that the bug brings up something called the Citadel, and Hornet is now going to the Citadel to find out why she was brought to this land. Getting to the Citadel is easier said than done, as you're about to find out. But anyway, I stumble across the quaint town of Bone Bottom, which is kinda like a home base, so to speak. Hornet talks to some of the pilgrims in town and has to explain that she is in fact a warrior and not a pilgrim herself. We also go inside of this little house to find nothing here yet, but this place will soon be very useful. But anyway, it's time for the hero's journey to truly start because everything up until this point was somewhat of a tutorial. Anyways, this little critter over here is praying to open this door, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it a favor and open it for her. But my fun is painfully interrupted when I run into this monster. At this point in the game, I'm still getting used to the controls and the angle in which the down attack hits. Oh, I died. That's not good. first death. But I am back to exact my revenge. Breaking this silk chrysalis gives me my soul back, as well as any rosaries that I may have. Moving on, I explore some area around, and I eventually am able to open up the door. Yeah, that's cool and all, but I have a citadel to reach. We make it to the marrow, and I pay 30 rosaries to get this bench. There is a surprising amount of facilities that you need to pay to gain access to in this game. I do not remember there being that many in Hollow Knight, but regardless, we have a bench now. The artwork in the marrow is unsurprisingly beautiful. I can definitely see why this game took 6 years to make. As I'm exploring, I come across a band of pilgrims. I chatted up with them, and eventually in the story, these guys are going to play a role. But for now, they proved to be useful because they gave me a bench to rest on. Alright, just a little spot to rest, I suppose. What's over here? Oh, this looks scary. Oh, I can't even go over there yet. I know a secret wall when I see one. Oh, coins. Or what are they called? I forget already. There are so many things that happen during my playthrough, and I just cannot include every single small detail in one video. I highly recommend buying this game and playing it for yourself. The game is literally only $20. I just feel bad because I cannot capture the full essence of this game. So really the only way to experience this game in its entirety is to play it for yourself. Moving past that, I end up finding this bug lady. This is Chakra, and she recognizes that we are a warrior and sells us maps. These are incredibly useful. A little bit past Chakra, I discovered this weird looking cave. It looked like there was a giant bug covered in silk. I tried desperately to slash and try to free it, but it did not work. To be continued. I then discover a new area called Moss Home. It is kind of like the place that I was in the very beginning of this game, except it is a larger area. This area is very neat, and it actually is not long before I come across this weird altar kind of thing. Hornet binds the altar and gains a new power. This is Silk Spear, and if you ever played Hollow Knight, you'll recognize this ability. This is because Hornet actually uses this move in her boss fight in the game. Oh dude, that's so cool. Now that I have this ability, it appears that I am able to get that bug out of the silk that I saw earlier. But before I head back to that arena, I am sidetracked. I run into this room where there's a bench and a moss druid. After exchanging dialogue, I promise something, which appears to be a way of having side quests in this game. But anyways, I'm back in the arena. Boss time, Bell Beast. Oh snap. It turns out that the thing that was stuck in the silk was actually a boss waiting to fight. After what I think to be about half of its health, it activates crazy mode. Oh, he's not happy now. I actually was doing really well, but I misread this jump terribly and I died. Oh, snap. Dude, that sucks, bro. I didn't realize he did 3 things of damage at once. Alright, sorry, no problem. We'll run it back. I was ready this time, and he went down with no issue at all. No challenge at all. That I didn't die or anything, or didn't, you know. Either way, he's defeated. But then this random mysterious thing showed up. What's this? Oh snap, what? I was transported to this weird silk realm, and I really had no other choice than to ascend on the platform. At the very top, I consumed another orb that looked very similar to the one that got me here. Apparently, it was a silk heart. Cool beans. But anyway, I'm back, and I unlocked fast travel. But it's not like we can fast travel to the Citadel, so onward and upward it is. I came across this interesting section that required a bunch of precise jumps, but lucky for me, I'm an elite gamer, so it was really easy. All my fellow people out there who have completed Path of Pain did not struggle on this part, and that includes myself. Although, I will say it's a little hard that the down attack goes on an angle, as opposed to just straight down. Coming up, there are going to be many other times where precise jumps come into play. You're just gonna have to wait and see. But for now, I actually stumble upon another boss room. Rather, a mini boss room. I accidentally stumbled into a boss arena. No, this isn't a boss. A name tag didn't come up. Oh shit. I am not ready for this boss. Indeed I was not, and I wouldn't be for a while. But that did not stop me from trying a couple more times to beat him, and to nobody's surprise, it did not work. The problem was that whenever he did one of these jump attacks, I just was not fast enough to avoid it. So I told myself that once I was able to get a dash ability, if it even existed, then I would come back and fight this guy. While I was exploring the marrow some more, I came across Chakra. Do you have more maps for me? And I purchased a compass, which allows me to see where I am located on the map. Exploration commenced further, and I stumbled across another mini-boss arena. There are many of these mini-boss fights in the game. It consists of spawning a couple enemies at a time, and all you have to do is beat them and not die. Ooh, nice little finish. Above that arena was this plus-sized gentleman who was selling some weapons. These are some secondary weapons that you can use, and they replenish using some of your materials every single time you sit on a bench. All I need now is to find somebody that I can test these new weapons on. And would you look at that, another mini-boss arena. I throw out some of the tools, but I have no idea how they work. It appears that if you hit them, they explode. Pretty gnarly stuff. And right after this fight, I found another altar. You know what that means? A new power. I can rejoice because it is a dash. Let's go. This means I can finally take down this mini-boss. Oh shit. I'm still losing, bro. And even with my new ability, I'm still bad at the game. It took me a little while, but I did eventually take him down. Ooh, let's go, finally. I have now unlocked Hunter's March, a new area, and these tricky jumps are all over the place. But it's all pretty simple jumps, and it's nothing I can't handle. I find this area to be very fun and interesting, because personally I enjoy doing the parkour jumps. However, something that I don't enjoy are these constant mini boss fights. But this one's not so bad because halfway through Chakra pulls up. Although I will say this kinda confused me, and I thought Chakra was attacking me, so I try to dodge her attacks on the enemies. I don't think that this is the reason I died, but it definitely played a role. After about 2 or so tries, I took them down. Oh! Dude, that was so close. Hell yes. Oh yes, dude. Oh shit. I then come across this area that says that there's a bench. So, you know, I go and sit down on the bench. But then, oh, finally a bench. Oh, that's not a bench. There's actually a secret lever over here, and if you hit it, the bench becomes normal again. Now imagine that I only had 2 masks remaining and I just instantly died. I think I would have uninstalled the game. Thankfully that's not the case, and I can enjoy this masterpiece. Now, I come across this area that obviously has a boss arena up next, and all I have to do is pull this lever. Now that the door is unlocked, I am faced with the boss, Lace. She pretty much tells Hornet that she can end her suffering by just killing her. So obviously, we have to put an end to her. This fight is actually pretty reminiscent of the fight against Hornet in the original Hollow Knight. I really end up enjoying this fight, and I do it first try. You don't actually end up killing Lace, so I'm sure that she's going to come back later in the story. Oh, she's not dead. Oh no. And now it is time for yet another new area, the Far Fields. There are a lot of decently strong enemies in this area, so it is best to be careful. But me personally, I'm an elite gamer, and I take them all down. I then pay for yet another bench, and I stumble upon Chakra, the map lady. Unfortunately for me, I just spent all my money on a bench, so I cannot afford the map for this area. As I'm exploring, I find this passage and I drop all the way down here. Little did I know that I would be down here for a very long time. You see, in this area there is a tent, and inside this tent there is a bench. And once you sit on a bench, it updates your respawn location. I then take up a promise with this seamstress, and unbeknownst to me, I would have to complete this wish in order to get out of this area. Anybody with the slightest bit of common sense would understand this just by the dialogue, but I am not that smart, as I hinted at in the beginning of this video. Anyway, you see these ugly things right here? The wish pretty much states that these spikes that they shoot out, you have to break and collect and give them back to the seamstress. And I do not end up doing this for an entire 15 minutes. It's not even like I could just look up the answer either, because this game literally just came out in the same day. Alright, so I watched my footage back and I figured out how I got here, and I am completely lost, man. I do not think I can get back legitimately. Because like, there's this over here, but I don't have access to it yet. I genuinely think I'm stuck here. So I say, f it, man, I'm just gonna do the side quest, because what else am I supposed to do? And lo and behold, it is my escape ticket. There's even this awesome animation. I don't know why I wouldn't just do this earlier. Drifter's Cloak. Oh, awesome. Okay, so that takes me up with the, Dude, why am I naked? This ability is so useful, and it allows me to glide in the air when there's upstreams like this. Finally, I can get out of this area. Oh, snap, what did I do? This is not usual. Turns out there was actually a robot who was waiting for me to get a new cloak so he can attack me. Makes sense. Not gonna lie though, this might be the best fight in the entire game. I was actually so locked in and enjoyed the fight so much that I did this first try. Like other bosses in this game, when I get him down to what I think is about half his health, he goes absolutely silly. He starts spewing out some random attacks, and it's very hard to dodge. However, this stage is very easy to read, and he doesn't do anything too out of his usual spread of attacks. It's when I knock him down for a second time that I think the fight is over, but that could not be further from the truth. In fact, he has a third phase, where he gets even crazier and even sillier. Oh my god, that was so close to death. He lets out a second giant shriek, and this is when it really gets crazy. You're limited to stand on only 2 platforms, and one of them he smashes and destroys. It was a while, but I did eventually notice that there were 2 jet streams on either side that I can use to set off giant explosions to do major damage to him. After the second one hit, the fight was over, leaving me in shock at the best boss fight I've had in this game so far. What a awesome boss fight, dude. That was so cool. Jeez, man. I would say that that boss fight alone is worth the $20 to spend on this game. But honestly, there are so many more amazing boss fights to come that this game's price point is just unbelievable. And as you can see, I've been flowing up these jet streams all the way to the top. And at the top is a city called Greymore. And it's here where I finally run into Chakra again. And I'm finally able to buy maps of the areas I've been to. Anyways, Greymore is filled with a bunch of birds. I guess they have a bird problem. Like, every single enemy in this area is some form of bird. And they are all really annoying. However, they come in handy when I'm able to bounce off of one of them to get up here. I also run into Krieg. He is the owner of the halfway home, and he provides me a nice bench. I also make a promise with this really ugly thing up here, and I'm back on my way. And while I'm exploring this area, I find this weird church-looking thing. Of course, there's a mini-boss inside this area, but honestly, I've done so many up to this point that they kind of stopped getting hard. When they were all defeated, a platform dropped down, and now I can explore the area a lot more. It's a pretty common theme in this video that I end up killing a boss, and then another area is unlocked. Nonetheless, this game is fire. At the top, Hornet finds a dead body to claim. I don't know what that means. Oh, lord. What am I claiming? Apparently, we claim the ability of the Reaper. These abilities essentially just replace some of the base moves that you have. Now I have a down attack that goes straight down that does not move on an angle. This is going to be pretty useful for parkour jumps. Moving on, I find a fake wall, and behind it is a place to buy some fast travel. Hopefully you remember that this is the boss from earlier in the video. I then explore a bit more of Moss Home, and I come across this giant monster. This monster spits up a bunch of acid, and if you get hit by it, you're pretty much dead. I actually try to kill it, and I die. I then learned that there is no point in trying to kill it. I mean, maybe there is, I never killed this thing. But the only thing that's on the other side is a door that needs a key. I do not have a key. Back at Bone Bottom, I buy some map equipment from Chakra. The things I bought are really helpful because now whenever I look at a map, it shows where all the benches are. And for the next couple hours, I go around every single place I've been before and just make sure I find every single nook and cranny. I also buy some equipment back at Bone Bottom, as well as accept a couple promises. One of which involves destroying 3 of these strong monsters. I also got the last Mossberry and gave it to the Moss Druid. After I was done with the side quests, I headed back to Greymore in order to unlock more of the world. Some progress was made, and I definitely improved some of my parkour skills. But honestly, at this point in the game, I was really lost as to what to do next. I mean, I did end up getting this new ability called Threadstorm, which is pretty useful, and I used for the majority of the run, but I ended up wandering around aimlessly for a couple hours. Now, I wouldn't say it was time wasted because I did end up doing a couple very important things, such as finding this guy who sold me these items, the Fractured Mask and the Curve Claw. I end up using the Fractured Mask for the rest of the run. It pretty much just allows me to tank a lethal hit of damage and survive, although I don't equip it for a little while. I then come across the Chapel of Beasts, which I end up entering with only 1 HP. Chapel of the Beast? Do I want to be in here with 1 HP? The entrance of this place required you to do a couple hard parkour jumps, and being on 1 HP, I was definitely anxious. I actually end up nailing it first try, but then I die to this part because I'm an idiot. Why wouldn't I float, bro? Why wouldn't I float? No, to go all the way back. Why wouldn't I float, bro? I thought it was a straight drop down. The run back is ever so slightly annoying because there's this cage that I get stuck in often. And once you're stuck in here, you're pretty much taking damage. I don't know, but something with me in this cage is like a moth to a flame. Oh my god, I fall for this every time. And inside the Chapel of the Beast is, you guessed it, a beast. This is a boss fight if I've ever seen one. I'm actually really nervous. It's not a boss fight. It's a boss fight. Oh, and by the way, if you were wondering what the charm I had does, it does this. Oh shit, I forgot I had that thing. But it doesn't matter because I die on my first attempt. And it's okay, the run back shouldn't be too hard because now I know that there's a cage there. Oh my god. But anyway, the fight continues with the beast, and I continue to die, and I continue to get stuck in the trap. Oh my god, I fell for the trap. And low-key, I don't know if I should admit this because this definitely was not a hard boss fight, but this took me around 20 to 30 minutes to beat. Thank fucking god, man. Jeez, what a boss fight. Holy shit, dude, I did not think I was gonna beat that. Anyway, Hornet claims the beast, and I get another ability. This is the Crest of the Beast, and I do not like it. So I switch it back to what I had before once I find a bench. And I'm back to dilly-dallying because I do not know where to go. I explore a little bit more of Greymore. Spoiler alert, that's where I'm supposed to go. But I end up doing absolutely nothing. I do end up purchasing a key in Bone Bottom and using it all the way here in the far area. The far lands, the what? What's it called? The key was used in Deep Docks, and this area is connected to the far fields. There really wasn't anything here, and I did not need to spend that much money on a key. So it's back to dilly-dallying until I finally find where I'm supposed to go. What? How did I not get this far before, bro? As long as it took me to find this boss, it took me to beat this boss. Damn. That's a hard boss, bro. During an attempt to take the boss's life, I take way too much damage and I flee. In fleeing, I find this gentleman. He offers to help me fight the boss, and of course I take him up on that offer. But even with his help, I still end up dying many times. It wasn't until I finally started to learn his moves and understand his attack patterns that I finally started to yield good results. And eventually, I did take him down. Oh, thank God, dude, what a run. Exactly what you said, my guy. Hey, that was awesome. Crazy how that was first try. Alright, where am I now? What is this area? This area I was in was both beautiful and horrifying. By beautiful, I mean the animation of the cutscene. And by horrifying, I mean... Oh lord. Are they all hung? Oh my god. I'm now in the haunted Bellheart. And while these bugs may not be dead, it is still terrifying that there are bodies hanging in the air. And ever so slightly beyond this town is another area called Shellwood. This is kind of like a swampy area, and I'm going to be here for a long time because I do not end up getting the map for this area because I am dead broke. But anyway, I really do enjoy exploring this area. I even find chakra in this area, but as I said, I am broke and cannot afford a map. I also come across a spot that I can buy a bench at, but unfortunately, I cannot buy one. I then run into this fella named Greymore, who I make a promise with. And then it's back to exploration for me. Remember, all of this is in an attempt to get to the Citadel. And standing in my way is this boss. This is Sister Splinter, and she's not very hard. While being on the easier side of bosses in this game, I actually really enjoy the boss fight. And I'm not going to pretend like this entire thing is really easy. After she activates crazy mode, she launches some things down from the ceiling, which trip me up. With everything going on screen, it is really easy to get lost in this fight, and I end up dying. But it's okay, because on my second attempt, I take her down. And past her boss arena, there's a place where I can get a new power. This new power is Cling Grip. Oh yes! Yes! And it pretty much allows me to wall jump. With this, a lot more is unlocked, including this new area that I found. I'm now in Blasted Steps, and this place is crazy. Not only are there crazy strong enemies, there's also sand with bugs in it that will kill you. So after I die in this area, instead of going right back, I decide to explore the rest of my world using the new wall jump ability I have. This leads me to find the Skull Tyrant boss fight, and since when I first discovered it I did not know it was a boss, I took 4 hearts of damage right off the bat. The boss's moves are pretty straightforward and they're very easily readable. However, I die because of the disadvantage. Also, I have to mention that I accidentally corrupted the next couple minutes of this footage, so just ignore it if the audio doesn't match up perfectly. It's honestly a miracle that there's any footage to begin with. Same thing goes if it seems sped up or slowed down a little bit. That's because it is. Anyway, here we go at another attempt at this boss. He wasn't too tricky because he only really does the same 3 moves over and over again. And starting with the proper amount of HP definitely makes a difference, so I'm able to kill him. Or so I think. We may see him later. Remember that band of pilgrims I said earlier in the video would become more important later in the story? Well, apparently they've been collecting those weird monsters that I freed throughout the playthrough. Good on them for that. I continued to do a little bit of exploring when I finally stumbled back onto the Blasted Steps. This place was visually beautiful, however, there were some pretty tough bugs here. I also ran into the chakra once more and I was able to buy the Bellheart map. This weird bug with a drill kept bothering me. I don't know what I would do if there was a bigger one of these guys. There were 2 of them as a boss. This fight was actually not as bad as I'm making it out to seem. It was really fun having to dodge these guys. However, that was literally the extent of the boss fight. Anybody over the age of 4 beat them on their first try. The other one that you didn't kill just ends up staring at you in the background. This makes me think that he's going to come back. It's useless to think about that right now because we have a citadel to reach. I end up finding this weird little tent that has a couple tricky parkour jumps to get to due to the wind that blows in this area. On the inside of this tent, there's a wonderful bench and a spooked out pinstress. The pinstress is kind enough to teach us a new move. Needle Strike. There's something similar to this in Hollow Knight. It was now time to go find something else to do. As I've been doing literally this entire video, I find new places to explore. That's kind of the point of this game. Blah blah blah, who cares? Oh my gosh, wow, another boss! I mean, what can I say about this boss that I haven't said about every single boss in this game? Oh yeah, it was hard the first time, but then I came back to beat it after a couple tries, because I'm really good at the game. Hey, I mean, jokes aside, this actually was a really cool boss fight. I thought that this boss had a pretty good second phase, and it was really rewarding being able to dodge every attack. The boss went down on my second or third try, and after Hornet binds to it, I get a new ability called Needle In. We're back in the Silk Realm. This is to show us that our new ability can open up the secret doors that look like this. Behind the door, we inspect this thing, and we are met with this harp entity in a cutscene. She says, "For our light, eternal, our song sustains." Maybe she's referring to the Silksong. Pretty bizarre. I'm just being a silly goose. With that boss defeated, I rescued all the hanging people in Bellheart. Lovely. I run all the way back to the far fields to get to this secret door. By running down the corridor, I unlock something called Silk Speed Anklets. I do not end up using these at all. I still think that it's pretty cool nonetheless. After that, I do a little bit more exploring in Greymore. This whole place was riddled with birds and parkour. Not very ideal. But it's okay, I can put up with the birds, because I end up discovering another spool fragment and it allows me to have more silk at a time. Speaking of unlocking things like that, I am 25 minutes into this video and I still have not gotten another whole mask, nor have I gotten a needle upgrade. Oh well, what are you gonna do about it? Anyway, look at where I am right now. I'm doing this tricky little parkour section. Tricky for people who are bad at the game, of course, not me. In this area, there were so many rosaries and I ended up getting rich. However, when I was exploring this area, something peculiar happened. I got locked and trapped inside of a cage and taken to this mysterious prison. Not to mention, Hornet is completely naked. This is the slab. I had absolutely no idea what was going on in this area. I was really confused and wondering if this was part of the main story. I noticed the ceiling on one of the rooms had a secret passage, and this allowed me to explore the slab. I don't know, this place was pretty neat. It's just a little bizarre that Hornet is naked. There actually was a bench that I found, and it allowed me to continue without thinking I was going to die. The slab was actually connected to the snowy area that you would freeze in unless you stood near one of these fires. This whole area just caught me off guard in a good way. And just like every single area in this game, there was a mini boss fight. And honestly, I'll say that this is probably the hardest mini-boss fight in the entire game. It takes me several attempts, but I finally end up getting the key of Heretic, which allows me to progress and escape this area. Nothing beats returning home after getting kidnapped. I'm truly convinced that Greymore is holding secrets, and my theory is proven to be correct when I stumble upon Sinner's Road. This area is the worst, and I don't mean from a game design perspective, I just mean playing it. I hate this area. It's gross, the bugs are mean, and it's hard to traverse. For the time being, I don't really find anything over here, but I'll be back here eventually. For now, I travel back to Bone Bottom, and I am met with a humble surprise. That's right, the Skull Tyrant is back, and for whatever reason, he decides to destroy Bone Bottom and some of its citizens. The fight is the exact same as it is before, and this allows me to take him down with ease. Although this doesn't change the fact that he literally killed somebody, and more importantly, destroyed my bench. I then go back to Blasted Steps to do a whole lot of exploring and finding a whole lot of nothing. But when I return back to the Bone Bottom area, I find that they're hosting a funeral for the bug that was killed in the attack. They literally just throw him into a hole. Rest in peace, buddy. I then end up finding a secret door, the very one that I stumbled upon in the very beginning of the video. Inside this area, we get the Crest of the Hunter, which is just a stronger version of the skill we originally had in the game. And after doing some pretty intense parkour, I finally unlock another mask. Jeez, this took a long time. But even with doing all this, I really felt like I made no progress in getting to the Citadel, which, you know, is the entire point of Act 1. It wasn't until I went back to Greymore to search for some more secrets that I finally started making some decent progress towards the Citadel. I came across this weird place that was oddly reminiscent of Sinner's Road. That led me to realize that Sinner's Road is the way to go. There was also this weird giant bug named Styx here. So anyway, I'm back on the road again. Literally. And as I mentioned before, I just hate this place. The bugs are actually evil. And when I finally get to the top, I discover a secret. I find an area called Bile Water. This has to be the grossest name of an area in video game history. This place also sucks to be in because there are maggots that cover your silk meter and slowly drain out your silk until you bind. Thankfully, I eventually come across the bench that I can pay for, and I of course buy it. But right beyond this bench might be the most fascinating area in the game. This is the Mist, and this area makes no sense. First of all, there are these really scary astral-like creatures that just fly at you and attack you and grab you. And if you fall, well, you're back at square one. Not to mention, every single time you get to another area and think that you're finally getting further and further, it turns out that you've already been to that location. Since I am literally God's gift to gaming, I find out that if you talk to these butterflies, they take me to where I need to go. And finally, after like 10 or so minutes, I end up in a corridor that is not one that I've already been in. However, unfortunately, I only have one mask remaining, so I have to do the rest of this part flawlessly until I find a bench. And I decide to jump right into maggots. Luckily, in the new area Exhaust Organ, there was only one enemy, and I managed to dodge him. But there were other things besides enemies to dodge, such as the exhaust from this organ. My anxiety was high, but fortunately for me, my skill was much higher. I was able to effectively dodge past everything and even find a bench. Aren't I crazy? Now, on the inside of this organ, there was a boss fight waiting for me. This boss was named Phantom, and it is quite similar to the Lace boss fight, except it is much harder. I won't lie, this boss took me a while to learn. I actually died quite a lot on this boss. In fact, my second attempt against her might have been the fastest I've ever died to a boss in a video game. Damn, okay, I don't think I've ever died faster to a boss. But every single death that I experienced was one step closer to her demise. One really, small step. And that was the end of Phantom. Hornet learns Cross Stitch, which is pretty much just a parry move. And you'll never guess what was right outside the organ. Am I at the Citadel? Did I make it? Oh my gosh. Act 2. Yo. To be continued.